We'll take a question here and then go up for 3 upstairs. Go ahead.
Charlie Leffler, Mechanics for Local. Denny, before driver introductions, it looked like you were giving a pep talk to Joey back there. Was that what you were doing? And you want to talk a little bit about his performance tonight?
Yeah, I'm proud of Joey. I asked him, how did he make that comeback there towards the end, and they made some good adjustments. But actually, Joey was just asking me, how do I brake at this racetrack? He didn't understand how every time we come here, everyone's brakes are glowing red and mine aren't, but yet it looks like I'm entering the corner better or harder. And it's just there's a technique to it, and I feel like Joey's really good at absorbing information, and obviously when he gets that information, he takes off with it. So he's just he's done good. It's a matter of time before he's as competitive is what Kyle Busch is week in, week out, and then that's just going to make both teams that much stronger. So it's a good young group that we have at Joe Gibbs Racing, and myself included. But it feels good to have these two guys around me as teammates, because there's so much to be learned throughout that whole group, and I feel like it's made everyone better.
We'll take 3 questions from the press box. Go ahead.
Denny, Sean Finner from the Times-Dispatch here in Richmond. Taking the chase implications out of the equation, how satisfying is it for you to win here a second time?
It feels good, and you hate to be greedy, but it's like, how many have we lost here at this racetrack before we finally broke through, and to win this one now twice in a row means a lot. And you just learn every time that you come here little things that you feel like make you better, and that's all you can do is you can't dwell on the times that you lost this race. You got to just push forward and think about the times what it will take to win the next one.
Go ahead, press box.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Denny, following up on that, it sounded like Curtis Markham was giving you some coaching tonight. I think at one point on a restart he said you didn't give in to peer pressure and you took the lead the right way. Could you talk about just the race you drove tonight? Was this one of the smarter races you've driven at Richmond, just in general, and just how that maturation has happened with, you've always been so good here as a driver, but learning how to win here on top of that?
It's so more than what people can see on TV. It's so tough and mentally tough to see a guy barreling down on you with 40 laps to go and know that you just cannot force yourself to go any harder than what your car is capable of. And I feel like that's where I've gotten better at this racetrack. And at the beginning, when me and the 48 were battling, he kind of stuck it 3 wide on me right there, and I got frustrated because it put me in a bad position. And I was doing everything I could to kind of get back at him by putting him in a bad spot. But it's just, I feel like it takes to win these races nowadays. It takes more than just the fastest car with the best driver. It's almost like a game of chess. It's really tough to figure out what it takes to win them, but it's about conserving, and I feel like I've done a better job of doing that here.
One more upstairs. Go ahead.
Denny, Brian Belansky from RacingWire.info. Momentum is important going into the chase. Yeah, you won this race last year going into the chase, and we know how that ended. What's different this year with you and maybe the chase field going into this chase with the momentum that you have now? What do you think is different, and how is that going to change what you do over the next 10 races?
I mean, it's a different year. That's the only thing I can say that's different. I mean, your momentum ends as soon as you go to the next racetrack. As far as I'm concerned, it's it's about next week on Monday. It's about getting better at that racetrack. But what's different this year from last year is 6 wins versus 2. So from my standpoint, I feel like the last 5 races of the chase always seem to be really good for us, and we always gain points those last 5. So, but the problem is we race ourselves or something like that right out of it for the first 2 or 3. So for me, it's about damage control at the beginning and trying to get the best finishes we can and see where we end up. If we're within shouting distance with 5 to go, then I'm going to be pretty confident that we'll have a good shot at it.
Other questions for Denny, Mike, or JD before we release them?
Clear
Okay.
upstairs.
We'll take 2 more right here. Jenna, and then we'll finish with Jim. Go ahead, Jenna.
Jennifer AP. Mike, you tell it like it is often. Can you win this championship?
The thing it's going to take to win this championship, like Denny said, we've got to get through these first 3 first. Loudon, we struggled at the beginning of the year. The first race was utterly miserable for us. We don't know where we missed it, so we've got to work on that. Dover has been the thorn in our side as far as the tuning aspect. And then Kansas, I think, with their 1.5 mile program, I think that's good. We've got to keep our stuff together, and that's what's taken us out the last couple of years. And I think we've got, a point lead right now, but we're going to race like we're 40th. Still going to be very aggressive and try and win races. So if we can do those three things, if we can get through those first 2 to 3 races and keep the cars together, not make mistakes, then absolutely, I think we can outcompete anyone. No, Loudon for me right now, knowing how we ran at the beginning of the year and knowing that it's coming next. Next Monday it'll be Dover.
Final question, Jim Utter.
Jim Utter, Show Observer. Denny, on paper, at least, it looks like you went from worst that you can possibly do last week to first to number 1 seed. But given how you ran in the race before the engine problem, do you feel this race was more of a continuation of how your team was performing last week?
I mean, it is. Last week it was very similar to this week, only on a different racetrack. I was running as hard as I had to. Me and Tony were going back and forth. Here it was me and Clint and Jimmy going back and forth, but I was just running as hard as I felt like I needed to at the time. And so we had that off week, which was very important for us to kind of get our fleet of cars ready for the chase. And at that point we said, all right, we need to win more races starting right now. We need to pretend it's the chase right now and do all we can to finish as best we can these next 2 weeks to have, get the team morale going and everything, because we had drive shaft issues, we had wrecks before that, for the last 10 weeks, and until we go out and we perform like we know we can, then as far as I'm concerned, we were going to finish 12th in points. So I think the last 2 weeks have just shown where we stack up versus the competition, hopefully.
Congratulations to the number 11 team, JD, Denny, and Mike, and good luck in the chase.